Imagine a gathering where Africa's next great economic chapter is being written, a room filled with African leaders, investors, entrepreneurs, and visionaries who share one belief: that Africa's future must be shaped by Africans themselves. This was the atmosphere in Diamniadio, Senegal, on October 7, 2025, when President Bassirou Diomaye Faye officially opened the second edition of the Invest in Senegal Forum. The event, held at the Abdou Diouf International Conference Center, brought together Senegal's top policymakers, international investors, and distinguished guests from across the continent, including Burkina Faso's Prime Minister, Rimtalba Emmanuel Ouédraogo. It was a defining moment not only for Senegal, but also for West Africa's economic future, a symbol of a continent stepping boldly into an era of self-reliance and collaboration. This year's Invest in Senegal Forum carried the theme, Connecting Opportunities, Building the Future, reflecting the country's ambition to position itself as a bridge between African potential and global investment. From the opening ceremony, it was clear that this was not just another conference. It was a declaration of intent, a statement that Senegal and its African partners are ready to lead their own development, design their own future, and build a new kind of partnership with the world, one based on equality and shared progress. President Bassirou Diomaye Faye's opening speech was filled with confidence and vision. He began by expressing gratitude to Prime Minister Ouédraogo for his remarkable presence, calling it a testament to the growing bond between Senegal and Burkina Faso. His message was direct. Senegal is ready for investment and open for partnership, but it will do so on its own terms. The president reminded the audience that Senegal's strength lies not only in its natural resources, but in its strategic location, political stability, and the determination of its people. With access to the Atlantic and a rapidly expanding network of roads, ports, and digital infrastructure, Senegal is increasingly becoming the entry point to the West African market. In his address, President Faye highlighted the nation's priorities: infrastructure, agriculture, energy, tourism, crafts, mining, and industry. He said Senegal is ideally positioned to create an environment favorable to both local and international investment. The country's policies are now centered on promoting economic diversification and sustainability. Our goal, he said, is to ensure that every investment creates lasting value, not only for investors, but also for our people. His tone reflected a shift in mindset, a movement from dependency to sovereignty, from being the world's supplier of raw materials to becoming a producer of finished goods. Prime Minister Rimtalba Emmanuel Ouédraogo's participation added powerful symbolism to the event. Before the official opening, he joined President Faye in touring the exhibition stands, where Senegalese innovators showcased technologies and solutions ranging from agricultural machinery to renewable energy systems. He praised Senegal's bold reforms and its commitment to creating industries that prioritize sustainability and local inclusion. For both countries, this moment underscored a shared vision that African nations must collaborate, not compete, in order to rise together. The energy in the conference hall reflected a continental awakening. Leaders, investors, and entrepreneurs discussed how to transform Africa's enormous potential into tangible progress. The forum emphasized that Africa's resources, from gold and oil to agriculture and creative industries, must first benefit Africans. It was not about charity or dependency. It was about partnership, innovation, and shared growth. The phrase, "connecting opportunities, building the future," became more than a slogan. It was a declaration of unity and ambition. President Faye's message to global investors was firm yet welcoming. He invited them to explore Senegal's opportunities, but made it clear that this new era demands fairness and mutual respect. Senegal is not asking for aid. It is inviting collaboration. The president explained that the government's economic policies are grounded in transparency, environmental responsibility, and local value creation. He highlighted major areas where investment is most needed, from renewable energy and agro-industrial development to petrochemical processing, blue economy initiatives, and the creative sector. He reminded the audience that Africa's future lies in Africans investing in Africa. Across the continent, leaders like Faye, Ouédraogo, and their counterparts in Mali and Niger are pursuing the same vision, a self-sufficient Africa, where capital circulates within the region and strengthens local economies. The message resonated deeply with participants who understood that unity and intra-African trade will be the foundation of Africa's long-term success. The Burkina Faso delegation came to Dakar with clear objectives. Led by Prime Minister Ouédraogo, they aim to present investment opportunities in Burkina Faso while also preparing for their own upcoming event, the first edition of the Invest in Burkina Faso Forum, scheduled for October 9th to 10th, 2025, in Ouédraogo. The gathering will focus on highlighting Burkina Faso's industrial and agricultural strengths, its growing mining sector, and its emerging renewable energy initiatives. Notably, China has been invited as the guest country of honor, reflecting Burkina Faso's strategy to diversify partnerships while maintaining national sovereignty over its resources and development policies. In his remarks, the Burkina Faso Prime Minister reaffirmed that cooperation between African nations is no longer optional. It is essential. He said, "Africa's transformation will come from collaboration, not competition." He noted that the relationship between Dakar and Ouédraogo represents a new form of partnership built on mutual trust, where neighboring nations exchange ideas, technology, and resources to strengthen one another. Both Senegal and Burkina Faso face their share of challenges: global economic pressures, climate change, and regional security issues in the Sahel. Yet both countries are transforming these challenges into opportunities. Under President Faye, Senegal is implementing major reforms to increase food self-sufficiency and industrial capacity. New agricultural policies promote local processing of crops such as rice, peanuts, and millet. Solar power projects are expanding rural electrification, and infrastructure initiatives like highways, digital networks, and ports are connecting the country like never before. In Burkina Faso, under the leadership of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, similar efforts are underway to ensure that national wealth benefits citizens first. The government is encouraging local ownership in mining, investing in small-scale industries, and promoting education and training for youth to prepare them for technical and industrial jobs. The collaboration between Dakar and Ouédraogo signals a growing Sahelian alliance, one where African nations stand shoulder to shoulder, determined to reclaim control over their destiny. The forum in Senegal captured a deeper continental mood, the realization that Africa's path to prosperity depends on economic sovereignty. President Faye and his peers represent a new generation of African leaders who no longer see development as something imported from outside, but as something to be designed from within. The transformation of Senegal's economy under this vision is not just a local story. It is part of a continental movement where countries are uniting through trade, energy cooperation, and industrial partnerships. Throughout the 3 days of the forum, discussions revolved around innovation, technology, and how to make Africa more competitive in the global economy. Young entrepreneurs from across West Africa showcased digital startups, renewable energy projects, and agro-processing technologies. Investors from Asia and the Middle East expressed interest in participating, but this time the tone was different. Instead of dictating terms, they listened. Africa was speaking with a unified voice. The continent's leaders made it clear that future investments must create value for local communities, respect environmental standards, and contribute to long-term stability. The closing ceremony was filled with optimism. President Faye thanked all participants for believing in Senegal's vision and reaffirmed his government's commitment to economic reform. He emphasized that Senegal's doors remain open to investors who share its values of transparency and partnership. The Africa we are building, he said, is one where our youth find opportunities here at home, where innovation thrives, and where every resource we have becomes a foundation for independence. His words captured the spirit of the new Africa, confident, bold, and forward-looking. The collaboration between Senegal and Burkina Faso at this forum marks a historic shift in the Sahel region. It is a shift from isolation to integration, from dependency to self-determination. These nations are building frameworks where regional economies can complement one another. Senegal providing access to the Atlantic and technological innovation, Burkina Faso bringing agricultural and mining potential. Together, they are demonstrating that Africa's rise will be collective or not at all. For millions of young Africans following the forum online, this was more than just a policy event. It was a message of hope. It reminded them that the continent's future lies not in migration or aid, but in creativity, entrepreneurship, and unity. It encouraged them to believe in the power of their nations to transform and to participate actively in that transformation. Africa's youth are the continent's greatest asset, and forums like these are lighting the path for them to contribute meaningfully to their country's growth. As the lights dimmed at the Abdou Diouf International Conference Center and the final applause echoed through the hall, it was clear that something important had begun. Senegal is not just inviting investors, it is building a new identity, one rooted in African pride, economic sovereignty, and global respect. The Invest in Senegal Forum proved that Africa's story is no longer one of waiting, it is one of doing. It is about countries like Senegal and Burkina Faso proving that partnership and progress are possible without dependency. For those who dream of an Africa that thrives on its own terms, this event was a glimpse of what that future looks like. From Dakar to Ouédraogo, from the Sahel to the Atlantic, a new generation of leaders and citizens is rising, determined to connect opportunities and build the future together. This is Africa's time, and it has only just begun. If you believe in this vision of Africa's rise, don't forget to like this video so YouTube recommends it to others who share the same passion. Subscribe to Voice of Africa and stay connected to stories of progress, leadership, and transformation across the continent. Together, we can amplify the voice of a continent that is ready to shape its own destiny.